Hello students, so welcome to the Digital Pathshala KML. In this video we are going to discuss about one of the important poem, and that is the Battle of Blenheim. Okay, so Battle of Blenheim means that Blenheim is one of the place where this war was started, and this war was fought on 13 August 1704. So this war started on that day, and this was the year 1704. Okay, so this war became a part of that war of Spanish succession which continued for almost 11 years. तो 11 साल तक आपकी स्पेनिश सक्सेशन की वॉर चली, and because of that this war was also started, and many countries became a part of this war also, like Dutch or Austria and United Kingdom also, Germany also, and Hungary also, and so many countries. So they were just trying to occupy the territory of the other region which were weak. So there was a colonization at that time, so colonialism आपका ज़्यादा चल रहा था आपका, so that's why that they tried to occupy the region of other countries. So that whatever has happened in this poem, so it is expressed by a poet, so that what are the natural casualties which were faced in this war, and when it was started, we have already talked about it, and that what are the challenges or the difficulties which were faced by the people, and what had happened in this war means after Blenheim. So we will talk about all those things. So firstly we have to see that who has written this poem. So this poem is written by Robert Southey, and this is very important poet, and he is an English poet, and he was born in 1774 and died in 1843, and he is a that laureate poet. So laureate poet means that if somebody has worked as a court poet in any kingdom, so this was the post which was given by the monarch at that time, and he continued on this post for almost 30 years. Okay, and thereafter you have to understand that what are the things which he has written. So he was an historian also, essayist also, biographer also, autobiography also. So many things he has written in his life. So he is considered an important poet in United Kingdom, or English poet. So he is a romantic poet. So whatever he felt, so he has expressed all those things in this poem. So check it here. So it was a summer evening. Old Casper's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun, and by him sported on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine. Okay, so there is a one person, and that person name is Old Casper. So he is an old person, and the time is of summer, and that is the evening times. The weather is very pleasant, very calm, and he is enjoying that weather or the environment. So he comes out of his home, and there is a one granddaughter also, and his her name is Wilhelmine. So she is playing there, and it is a very green area, so that she is playing there, and he is looking all those things, whatever the grand means daughter is doing this thing. And thereafter what happens, she saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round, which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. He came back to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. So now you can see here, so that Wilhelmine has looked this thing that her brother, and her brother name is Peterkin, and he is coming with a one object, and that object is round and smooth. Okay, so that how that object is, so this is large also, smooth also, and round also. So this is the feature of that object. Okay, and then he just moving it, so he's just rolling something because he is not understanding that what it is. Okay, and he has got that thing behind the stream, beside the stream means, so there is a one river which is flowing there. So he was playing there, and he got nearby that. Okay, while he was playing, so he could not understand that what it is, so he wanted to ask something about that, so he came with that. And thereafter what happens, old Casper took it from the boy who stood expectant by, and then the old man shook his head, and with a natural sigh, this some poor fellow's skull, said he, who fell in the great victory. Now this old person, whose name is Casper, so he has taken that skull from that boy, means that grand जो आपके बच्चे हैं आपके, So he has taken from them, and then that boy who has brought that, so he is just looking that thing very keenly, you know, because he wanted to know something, okay, that what it is, so that he has a curiosity to know something about that. And then the old man shook his head. So when this old Casper saw that thing, so he started moving his head. He understood this thing, that, and there was a natural shy, so the expression of that old Casper was changed when he saw that, okay, skull. And he started remembering that this is the skull of a poor fellow. So there were some people who fought a war, and that was a great victory. So the war which was started, the battle of Blenheim, so the English had won the war, and it was very great war. So it was the statement which was given by the old Casper when he got that skull. And thereafter what happens? I find them in the garden, for there many here about, and often when I go to plough, the plowshare turns them out, for many thousands men, said he, were slain in that great victory. Okay, so it was a great war, and it was a great victory which was achieved. But that when he goes to plough the field, so it means that he is a farmer, and there are so many skulls which he gets there whenever he does plowing there. So that plowshare is one of the object which is used, okay, to just turn out the soil, or we can say to smooth the soil. So when it does plowing, so what happens that he gets so many skulls from there, so these come out on the surface, तो surface पे आते हैं आपका, and these are in thousands, है ना. So it means that the thousands men were killed in this great victory. In the battle of Blenheim, so many people were slain, means killed. Okay, now tell us what it was about, young Peterkin, he cries. So that Peterkin is very curious. So he is grandson, Peterkin जो grandson है आपका, and Wilhelmin and Peterkin, so these both are sibling. So Wilhelmin, ठीक है, का ब्रदर है आपका Peterkin. So they want to know something, okay, that what are these things, and why we are getting these things here. So now tell us what it was all about. Young Peterkin, he cries, and little Wilhelmin looks up with wonder waiting eyes. Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other for. Now she is very curious. Wilhelmine is very curious, means Peterkin's sister is very curious. Okay, that's just tell us, that what had happened in this war. And he is very, she is very curious also, and she is waiting that when old Casper, or me, we can say the grandfather, will tell that why this war was started and what was the reason of this. So you have to tell all those things to us. We want to know those things. Now next, it was the English, Caspar cried, who put the French to rout, but what they fought each other for I could not well make out. But everybody said, quoth he, that it was a famous victory. So what old Casper means, that grandfather is telling to these grand बच्चों से क्या करा है आपका, कि that है ना, it was the English means if you use English words, it means the person belongs to UK, means United Kingdom. So because it was a war between that English people and the French people. So United Kingdom or France, so these were the two kingdoms which were so powerful at that time. So but what had happened in this war, so that French were rout, so means that they were defeated by the English people. But what they fought each other for, so that what was the reason when why they started this war, so that everybody, so I cannot tell you that thing, but everybody said quoth he. Okay, so but what he is telling this thing that was a famous victory. Everybody says this thing, huh? I have heard from many people that was a great victory, but I do not know the reason behind that, why they call it a famous victory. Okay, and when he started telling about that war, so he was very excited, because we all know that if there is a patriotism in you, so that comes on your face, that comes in your feeling also. Okay, and now come to this. My father lived at Blenheim, then yon little stream hard by, they burned his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. Okay, so my father was living there. I was small at that time, so he was living in the Blenhiem, and there was a difficult time. You know, it would be very difficult to stay there. So that what French people did, so they had burned the dwellings, means the places where we were living. They had burned the houses, you know, and they came to the ground, means that there was nothing which they left where we could live. So with his wife and child, so we all know that sometimes it happens, we become refugee. कभी कभी क्या होता है that we live a life of a refugees also. So with his wife and the child, that he moved from there, and he did not get any place where he could hide, and us also and him also. So these are the sufferings which were faced by my father and my mother also, and by me also. So this is the thing which this old Casper is telling to these Wilhelmine and Peterkin. And thereafter you can check that with fire and sword the country round was wasted far and wide, and many a childing mother then and newborn baby died. But things like that, must be at every famous victory. Okay, so what old Casper is telling to these children, okay, that with fire and sword, means they had started burning the houses also, people also, and they killed so many people by sword. तलवार से बहुत सारे लोग मारे गए आपका, जला दी गए आपका. So this was happening at that time, and all across, means all parts of the country. So this thing was faced by the people. So there was nothing which was left, because of this war. And there were many childing mother, means that they were pregnant also, and they had also faced the difficulties of this war. And the newborn babies, they were very small, and they could enjoy their childhood, but in those times it was very difficult for them to enjoy. And but things like that, must be at every famous victory. So we all know that if you are achieving something which is very great, so for getting that thing you have to sacrifice something also. So behind any success there will be so many difficulties which person has to suffer. So they said it was a shocking sight after the field was won, for many thousands bodies here lay rotting in the sun. But things like that, must after a famous victory. Now that he is very happy also, so that it is a very shocking sight. So that it was a very shocking news at that time, that the war was won by English people, and French were defeated in this. But many thousand people lost their life, they sacrificed their life also. And I had seen that there were so many bodies which were lying, and these were just spreading, in the sun. And these were means in a very bad condition also. So this is the thing which we face, and if we are getting a famous victory, if we want to won any war, so these are the things which we have to keep in mind when we have to accept those, because that है ना बलिदान कहीं ना कहीं हमें देना पड़ता है. सो ग्रेट प्रेज द ड्यूक ऑफ मार्लबोरो वॉन एंड आवर गुड प्रिंस यूजेने. Why that it was a wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Nay, nay, my little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory. Okay, so that what old Casper is telling, it is a great praise for us, and great praise for the Duke of Marlborough. So that these are the people who commanded the army, and they planned in a very well manner, and they won this war. So because of Duke of Marlborough and Prince Eugene, so they had done very splendid work, and because of them that we had won the war. So it was a very big thing. So that we can see this thing, that that it happens, sometimes we get sadness also in our life, but after every famous victory, we have to just see this thing. So that he is telling to that girl, so Wilhelmine, just try to understand this thing. It is a famous victory because that we have won the war, and everybody was praising, everybody was telling this thing, that Duke of Marlborough and Eugene, so they had done, and because of them that we have won this war. And everybody praised the Duke who this great fight did win. But what good came out of it last, quoth little Peterkin. Now Peterkin is also asking to his grandfather, okay, just tell me that if everybody is praising, but what you got from this? Okay, So just tell me this thing. I want to know that only. Why that I cannot tell, said he, but that it was famous victory. So old Casper is telling that I could not tell you this thing that why people say that it was a famous victory. So it could be famous only because that it was in the favor of English people, and this is the great thing which we have achieved. So that's why that people call it as famous victory. Okay, so as we all know that if we are defending our country, so we have to sacrifice our army or the soldiers also. So we should not become sad on this. So we should be happy that it was in our favor. So this is the thing which poet has expressed. I hope that you have understood it now. So thank you so much. If you have liked this video, so please like, share and subscribe this channel. So just go on the subscribe button, so that is a red button. Just click there and you will get the bell icon, and then you can get all the notifications of the videos which are related to English literature or English grammar. So or there are so many things which are very important in English. So thank you so much. So bye everyone.